Hello, everyone. Hello. I have to adjust some things, and it'll probably give people some time to get in here. The problem here is that when you try to do a live without Facebook, you encounter some issues, and I'm encountering those issues right now. So um, I'm going to repair those real quick. So if you just be patient with me real quick here, I will get that going. I'm trying to make sure that Rumble is up and moving. Okay. And Rumble only. See, now I have to get a whole new configuration. This is the problem with going live on Rumble. Is that you have issues. I'll have to remove it and then add it again. So anyway, so today's topic is going to be one that I couldn't just let slide because it's becoming more and more a problem than ever before. People are starting to really it's getting old, but it's also being pushed harder than ever, and we have to start making this. We have to start telling people about it in a more emphatic way, I think. So we are going to tackle this now. Welcome to the Rumble audience, if there are any. There won't be any Twitch people. There probably won't be any Facebook people because I'm not on Facebook. So this will technically just be a recording. As far as I can tell, there won't be any real input from anyone because no one's going to be seeing it. So just an update. My Facebook will probably end up going away permanently. They are on the cusp of deleting it, they said. So while I want to be able to keep doing things even by typing it up, I can't. Not at least on Facebook. So Rumble doesn't have that option. Twitch doesn't have the option. So if I don't do lives in pain, then nothing gets said. They're slick. They have their way of doing it. So just insane to me how they get away with this stuff, but it is what it is. So the topic today is about the black schools. The reason I want to tackle the black schools is because we hear a lot of diversity talk and black empowerment talk and pro-blackity black talk. And are they really doing what they say they're doing when they say that they want black people empowered? The numbers don't bear that out, nor does the curriculum bear that out, nor does the teachers that they hire. That nothing that they push bears that out. What spurred this was a video that I found of a woman in well, not an interview. They were having a round table. These so-called black educators. And the problem with black educators is that most of them are not educated, but they're willing to educate. They go into the school systems and have absolutely no clue what they're doing. But they do have an agenda, and that's more than enough for them. So I want you to listen to this particularly weird person. The nonsense that she is saying, I'm going to break down in a bit, but the entire panel is shaking their head in agreement that she's so right. And this is what the Black teachers really think about Black students. She's an educated woman, she says. She is an educator, she says. I want you to listen to this.
Ways of knowing centric schooling or Afrocentric.
I want to make sure I get from the beginning here.
So without further ado,
this is Anthony Brian Logan. Follow him on YouTube.
And I think Black people, we are relational people. We are people of context. Like, it's very Western and European to dissect and analyze and take apart things, whereas Afrocentric schooling or Afrocentric spirituality or African epistemology or ways of knowing, everything is connected. So this is why education is not working for so many students of color, because we are context-driven people. We can't tell a story without telling the 10 things that happened that led up to that moment. There's no such thing as like thinking isolation, isolating yourself from nature, from your family. Like, it's just not part of our ways of knowing and being in the world. So when we tap into the ways that we understand the world, students are able to make wonderful connections and unleash their brilliance and their wisdom.
I want people to be clear about what this idiot was actually saying, because she is, and I'm sorry, but all of these so-called Black educators, they all piss me off because they all come from a viewpoint that Black people are stupid as hell. That's what they honestly believe. She literally just said that Black kids and Black people cannot isolate thought processes. They're too emotionally driven. That's a Western thing. Logic and function is a Western thing. Black people only function on context and emotional and spiritual levels. How do you explain Ben Carson? How do you explain DeGrasse? How do you explain those people who went into fields that all they deal with is logic, dissecting logic? How in the world do you explain that? Well, I'll tell you how they explain it. It's a one-off. It's rarity. It's not normal. They're white. It's a white thinking. So let me get something straight. It's not that we can't do it. Is that when we do it, it's too white for us to do it. But we can do it. So it has nothing to do with the fact that we're emotionally driven. So your point is absolutely stupid. But these are the people in education teaching younger Black children how to not critically think. You wonder why the nation is the way it is with the youth that are running rampant, Black youth in particular. This mindset permeates everything. Go with your emotions. You want to know why they react the way they react when a cop pulls them over? Because idiots like this are teaching. You can't logically think through things. You're emotionally based. It's context based. You have to have a reason for everything. When people pull you, you have to look at 15 different, tell the cop 10 million different things before you. This is the problem. This is a massive problem. These are our so-called educators. In Chicago and in Baltimore, they have the worst schooling systems. Most of them run and taught by Black educators. The entire city in Chicago is run by a Democrat Black person. The budget is atrocious compared to what they make and what they're given in federal funding. The schools are underperforming, and they put all their funds into diversity programs, not education, diversity, because they're producing social justice warriors in the colleges that come to teach the school. So they're not educating kids. They're indoctrinating kids. That's their plan. Their entire plan is indoctrination. Their plan is not education. They don't want children thinking critically, because if you can hear, they don't think critically. That's not a black thing. That's a white thing. You want to know how I can show and prove to you that they don't critically think even at the college level? And when they start them young as being stupid, when they purposely make the teachers there for a purpose other than education. Because you end up with people like the guy I tackled last week, Mr. Kendi. I want you to hear this answer and listen to the question that someone asked him. Okay, this is an educated man. But I also have to understand, when he gives this answer, he can only give an answer. He only gives the answer that he wants to give you, that he won't counter his own philosophy that he wants to push. He won't give you the real answer, because the real answer it goes against what he actually wants you to believe. Here he is in his forum giving his anti-racist nonsense. And someone in the audience asks a pretty straightforward question. You would think it's a pretty straightforward question anyway. Let's listen to the question.
We're going to open up the floor for questions. So please raise your hand. I see this gentleman here. You with the glasses? Yeah, you turning around. Yeah, there's somebody bring your microphone.
And this next fool over here, this Jameel Hill idiot, this absolute moron, race baiting mess is what she is. All these so-called African queens never been to Africa and ain't nothing queenish about them. Just anyway.
Thank you. That was excellent. And I'm wondering, I just finished reading Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility, and I think she did like an excellent job of defining racism as like a system of oppression as opposed to like a personal choice. It's like, it's there, you benefit from it, or you don't. That's its purpose. You talked about the importance of defining racism, but I unless I missed it, which is possible, I didn't hear your personal definition. Is there one that you would offer us? Like how?
So you notice that this idiot asking the question also can't give a definition, because he's not reading a definition. He's reading someone else's take on already presupposed idea of racism and just applying that to a situation. So they say racism benefits certain people, but they never tell you what racism is, right? In the book he said he read, that's supposed to define racism. That never defines racism. But now he's asking this fool to define racism. So listen what he says.
How do you define racism?
Sure. So racism, I would define it as a collection of racist policies that lead to racial inequity that are substantiated by racist ideas.
Word salad, using the word he's trying to describe in the description. Not sure how many of you understand when you're trying to describe something, what you don't do is use the description as the actual word. So you have, what's racism? Racism is racist stuff. Okay, but what's racist stuff then? Racism. Okay, we're back again. What is racism? Racist stuff. Never define it.
Sure. A collection of racist policies that lead to racial inequity that are substantiated by racist ideas. And anti-racism is pretty simple, using the same terms. Anti-racism is a collection of anti-racist policies leading to racial, anybody want to take a guess? Equity that are substantiated by anti-racist ideas.
You see how stupid this man is? And I'm so smart. I just told you that racism is racism because racism. This is the clown making money and got his degrees from colleges spewing that BS. That is a slow individual. That man has no education. He did not, I repeat, did not fully develop any brain cells as a youth nor as an adult. Racism is racism is racism. Racistly, racist. Racism, race. That's his definition of racism. But he's not the only one. And I'm doing all this to show you the education level of people educating our young Black youth. He's not alone in this narcissistic tendency to think that, ooh, I'm so brilliant. I'm going to describe racism with the word racism. You have this other clown, and you've probably heard him say this before. This is Umar Johnson. The other guy is his protege. People of color undivided. Just ridiculous.
So all white people are racist. See, the reason why we have trouble understanding that all white people are racist is we think racism is about emotions. We think racism is about attitude. Racism is not about emotion. Racism is not about attitude. Racism is not about character. Racism is about power and privilege. Let me say it again.
Racism is about power and privilege. Okay. Racism is about power and privilege. Huh. So if there are rulers in Africa who are Black, and they treat white people weirdly, is it because they're racist? When they go out and kill white farmers, they have power, they have privilege, they're not being stopped. Does that equate to racism, Mr. Umar? Are they stinking racists too? Because it's not not an emotion, it's not an attitude, it's not a characteristic. It's about power. It's not about character, right? Power and privilege.
Power and privilege. Let me say it again. White people can love you. Some of y'all know white folks who really care about you as a person. One nigga. You hear me? No. Under white supremacy, every white person can like one Black person.
Under white supremacy, a white person can love one Black person. They're allowed to love one Black person. You hear the nonsense this idiot speaks? He's supposed to be educated. This asshat is supposed to be a smart person.
You might be the one. Okay? Okay? But guess what? You need to understand that all white folks got two personalities.
All white folks have two personalities. I'm going to guess that what he's going to say next is one that likes you and one that hates you that he can't help. He may not even know that he hates you. I'm just going to go on a limb.
The one they show Black people and the one they show other white people. Do you understand? And this is where y'all mess it up. This is where y'all mess it up. Listen, you will go out with your girlfriend to Starbucks and have a latte, and soon you leave, she, oh, I cannot stand those earrings she's wearing. They're so African. She got this big afro. So when you leave, she talk about you behind your back. And so you, hey girl.
Because he knows that for a fact, right? Every white person does this in his book. every white person does this. These are the people that educate black people to think ill about white people. You want to know why black youth go out and purposely beat up on other races? Is because of fools like this. This moron. I hope he hears this, because I wish I could say worse things about him. He is below dirt. He's a disgusting human being, because he's teaching children to hate other people on purpose. Meanwhile, he's on stage doing the same thing he says white people do. He will talk good about the people that will pay him, but then dog them behind their back because all whites are racist. But he'll still take the white man's money. He'll happily take white man's money. What Negro today owns a car company that produces cars? None. But you'll happily drive a white man's car. The microphone he's holding in his hand might be built by a white man's company, but he'll happily hold it to spew racist trash into the air. This jackass, this beta male piece of trash. And we wonder why the black youth today are so emotionally driven, because people like this teach them. People like that other clown female that says black people cannot functionally handle complex things. We don't isolate thoughts very well. We're emotionally driven. We can't logically think things through. This is the people, those are them. That's the ones teaching black people today. They're in the schools. They're in positions of power over students. And then when the student is not able to actually process normal societal things, they blame white people. Because white people do it, right? Last time I checked, this clown's black. He teaches a handicap mentality. He teaches people how to be victims, and he teaches people how to hate. How to hate, he teaches. He teaches them how to hate.
This is how they took over Africa. By making you think they like you when they don't. All white people do this.
All white people do this. Every white person lies to black people in order to get ahead. Because black people are just so, dominant all over the earth, we have to take things away from them. He is saying the same thing this other lady said, by the way, that black people are weak-minded, that they're so stupid. They are so dumb. Black people are so dumb that they are all over the world exploited by white people. By just words. They can't logically think things through. The Democrats think the exact same way. They force this nonsense onto black people. Why do you think they make the songs the way they make them in rap? To continue the dumbing down. Why do you think it's so aggressive to continue the push that, hey, you're an emotional being. Keep functioning in your emotions. Why do you think BLM does the things they do to push this, force this emotional driven, angry, screaming at the top of your lungs nonsense? To react to everything out of emotion because they want you to stay there. They know that the instant you start to logically think things through, they lose. Which is why they call the ones who do logically think things through whitewashed. Because apparently black people cannot logically think. This is black empowerment. This is black empowerment.
It has nothing to do with liking you. They're racist because they want to be in control. I knew a black girl had a white best friend. They grew up together, kindergarten together, got married together, next door to each other. Husbands know each other, mothers know each other. They help each other. And then one day, a job came up at the job they worked at, a promotion, and the white girl didn't tell her black best friend. She went and got another white girl and took the job. The best friend found out. Sends me an email, Dr. Umar, I know this woman loves me. She's helped me in a lot of situations, but she did not tell me about the job. She went and told another white girl about the position. Why did she do that? I said, you're making a mistake. You're confusing your personal relationship with the white person.
I can only listen to so much of that clown. Ever thought that maybe, just maybe, that it was the black lady's job to find out about the damn job? You ever thought that maybe, just maybe, that you're not qualified for that job? No, it's because you're black and because she's white. Everything revolves around the characteristic that you can't change, while harping on you that the one thing that everyone has over you is the characteristic that you can change. Your education is up to you. White people don't keep me back. Doesn't happen. But people like this are the ones teaching. They're the ones teaching. I took some time this morning to look into the schools in Chicago. Just a few, not a whole lot. Some of the bigger ones. This is the principal. Okay, a level 1 school. Everybody under her. Principal, assistant principal, the dean, the clerk, security guard. POCs, only 2 white people in the whole facility, right? That have real power. 2. Then I went for another school to see exactly what white people are doing. And this is their schooling, right? I want you to understand, this is the board. This is the main board for Chicago site, schoolsites.cps.edu. This is an official site. This is not some organization, right? This is a .edu. They spend all kinds of money in Chicago, and this is the website they come up with. Look at when I click on schools to get a name of all the schools available on this website. In Chicago, 2 schools pop up. 2. And their budget is off the charts. Took a look at another school. Hispanic leader. Hispanic. No picture, but it looks like a China Asian name. Hispanic name. Hispanic. Martinez, Hispanic. Padilla, Hispanic. Teles, Hispanic. The fact of the matter is, I can see your messages. Not very many people are talking. That's why. I'm glad you could make it, Presh. They're not run by white people. The districts are not run by white people. The overall thing is not even run by white people. It's run by a black woman married to a white woman, man, whatever it is. It's of who they hire to teach, and they hire people like these fools to teach in the public education system. Our children, black people, I mean, are being dumbed down. White people are being targeted the same way, except it's the flip. You're both being told you're worthless. Just that white people are being told they're worthless because of their color. Black people are told they're worthless because of their intelligence. And that white people see them as stupid because white people are racist. Because you don't go into education teaching for pay. When I decided not to teach, it wasn't the money that deterred me. It was the curriculum that deterred me. They were not allowing me to actually teach. I was going to be an art teacher. My theory was, okay, if I can get into the art, I mean, I draw, I paint. Yeah, I know that's a form of intelligence, and I want to teach the kids, but I know that I love English and I love writing and I love context and all that stuff. So I'm going to incorporate that with my art. So when I go into the art class, they're going to have papers to write. They're going to have reports to give. They're going to have history lessons and stuff about art. I went into my first real classroom setting, and in an art room, all they do is babysit these children. And I asked specifically, is this all the curriculum involves? Just writing, drawing stuff, put a still life and they paint, that's art class? Like, yeah. I said, no. Nope. So you mean to tell me I can't give them projects like history lessons and write this entire, I want you to give me study Michelangelo and give me his life story and why he went in. I can't give them that. No. Why? Because that's in the English class. Said, so I'm just a glorified babysitter. So I went to the English class. What are they teaching them? Do you give them reports? No. So what do you teach them? Well, we give these little booklets and they fill out this. So they just fill in the blanks? Yeah. Wow. No. An educator is supposed to educate. Educate. And if you're not getting it anywhere else, you're not going to get it. I knew more than all of the college people that I encountered about things that they should know about in high school. They were never even given this information in high school. Stuff about what they considered social studies up here was dwarfed by the stuff I had to learn. I knew more about socioeconomic stuff than anyone did in college up here, because they were never even taught that at a high school level. A teacher's job is to teach. We believe this. Oh, the kids aren't smart enough, so we have to make it slower for them to catch up. You know, when you tell a kid that in one way, form, or fashion, they'll believe it and they will behave as such. They will never know they were stupid if you didn't at one point tell them, yo, you just can't get that. Just like telling a kid, oh, you're shy. You start telling him he's shy, or you're just not, you're not outgoing enough. Yeah, they'll just not be outgoing enough. And then eventually it becomes who they are. People like that woman, no, you guys just don't think on that kind of logical form. You have to, it's too, you're emotionally driven, you're culturally driven. And eventually that's what the kids will behave. They won't go into trying to be anything more. They won't. Kids are very moldable. And what teachers don't do anymore is mold. They don't mold anymore. I learned a whole bunch of crap in art class. All kinds of history lessons and blah, 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 blah. Art history 1, art history 2. And I was going to go teach high school. And I figured, dude, if they can get the majority of this before they get to college, the amount of classes they could skip in electives. I went to art class and I did all of this before, and I can give them prior to even getting to college. Now they can focus and get out of college faster. If they wanted to go do something to do with engineering, and then all of a sudden they have to take an elective art class. But no, I already took that elective because my teacher in high school gave me all of this information. We already did all this, and it could post towards their college education. Boom. They don't have to take that class anymore. Now all of a sudden you have a whole free period to add to your own agenda of doing your college degree. Shave a whole year off of your college. Save money too. No one will do this because they have an agenda to push. If I can indoctrinate the youth early, I don't have to worry about later. I can get anything I want done with them. If I can teach black children they're stupid, and I can teach white children they're racist, anything I say after that point, I can get them to fight with. I can get them to not trust each other. I can get them to. I hope you can hear me now. I can get them to hate each other because I can tell the white man, you're racist, and I can tell the black child, you're dumb, and everybody white hates you. So whenever you see a white person, understands that they're right off the top racist, and that just by seeing you, they don't like you. Tell the white children, hey, you know what? Just by you being white, you're better than black kids. You have it better than them. You have more privileges than them. You have a better life than them. They have now created a hierarchy of white people over black people, while at the same time saying to them, hey, we want you to make it. How in the world are you going to make it? I want you to understand how stupid this is and why it will be perpetually the case. You're saying that white people are the dominant, that they have all the power, that they're racists straight off the top, and there's nothing they can do about it. But you're asking for equality and equity from those people. They cannot give you something out of a place that they have no control over. If they're by nature racist, they cannot avoid it. Hence, they cannot help you because they are racist. They don't want you to be better. Even if they were to hand you a crumb, the crumb has strings attached to it that they can yank back at any time. That's the process of which they're coming from. You cannot expect this. If you really believe this nonsense, you can't expect white people to help you. They're not going to. They have to preserve their own ideas. They can't protect you and they cannot help you. They don't want you to prosper. They do not want you to prosper. but they want equity and equal outcome. You see why Coca-Cola pushes the be less white, but at the same time, they tell you can't help but be white and racist. You see why it's a perpetual thing, because you keep spinning your wheels. And they know they can do this. If they keep you focused on something that they say you can't change, in the background, they could be doing all kinds of trash and get away with it because you're not focused on that. You're too focused on the fight that you have in front of you now. All the violence and rage that's going on, they can't help but now they keep that in front of you. This is the education system we got for Black people now. Trust me, I know that white people go through the same thing in terms of being indoctrinated into hating themselves because of critical race theory. But these wokety woke pro-Black nonsense people are the exact same thing, doing it to their own. They push the same trash. You are worthless. You ain't gonna make it. You can't make it. You're not smart enough. The ones that do make it, they only make it because they act more white. They think more white. What is bad about being and acting more white, whatever that means, more white, act more white, be more white? I thought you wanted equality. So should white people act more Black? No, they can't do that because then that's cultural appropriation. And when you're Black and you act more white, or you try and you gain certain privileges as a Black person and you act more white, you're a sellout. Do you see the problem? There is no equality with these people. There is no equity with these people. There's no equal footing. There's only hate and disgust. And they're teaching our children the same thing. Everything's about race with these idiots because they're not smart enough to do anything else. The Umars of the world, the Kendis of the world, the Jameel Hills of the world, the Al Sharptons of the world, the ones who've made money off the backs of Black people and their plight, the ones pushing the race-baiting, hateful ideology are making millions from you buying their books through a white man production company. Making millions while other Black people live in squalor and tell them, you know, that's probably where you belong because white people are better. Then say, try and make it out. And then say, you can't make it out. You wonder why Black people feel so hopeless, the ones, especially the ones that listen to people like this? Where is the upside for them? Where is the upside? They have no out. They're belittled because they're Black. Then they're praised the next moment. Black is beautiful. Then they tell them, well, you know, you can't really make it out because white people hate you and white people are in power and you don't have power. Well, we're going to get you equality. Well, you can't ever have equality because white people are perpetually better because by nature of their skin, they're in power. And they don't want to give that power up. You've heard them say this. White people don't want to give the power up. So if white people don't want to give the power up, I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. They're at the top. How am I going to make it? I know I'll do what the white men did and try and get out that way. No, you better not do that. You'll be a sellout if you do that. But that's a way out. Nope, you're a sellout. You'll never be part of the Black community then. White people trying to embrace Black people decide they're going to be more Black. They start listening to Black music. They start embracing Black culture. You can't do that. That's culturally appropriating things, and that's racist. So how am I going to understand you? You will never understand us. So I will always be racist? Yes. So how am I going to help you? by being anti-racist, but I can't be something anti that I am. How is that possible? Figure it out. You see the problem. You see the problem. You're back again with this nonsense. I'm ignoring you, and I'm going to remove you from all of my lists. I don't want you on my friends list. I don't want you following me. If I have to block you, I will block you. I don't want to have a discourse with you, Rogue. I really don't. I want nothing to do with you. I honestly don't. There is nothing intelligent about anything you say. Never has been anything intelligent about what you have to say. So just consider yourself minused. They're teaching our children the worst in human being natures and promoting it as normal. I have the truth. Thank you very much. I don't need to search. I know where it is. If we don't start talking out and speaking out and really fighting this nonsense, we will continue to see this go downhill. We will. We'll continue to see this go downhill. And we will not see any progress with our kids. The future will be very bleak. You will have one people hating another people because of things they cannot control. Things they never, ever, ever set up for themselves. They were born a certain way, born a color. That's what you call it. And they must be taught to hate it because they were born like that. Wow. Anyway, I needed to bring that to your attention because it's going around and they'll start implementing even worse policies as it gets even closer to global implementation. Because if you really think that they're not going to try and push this in the next agenda for an election, watch. If you're not going to see, you're going to see this happening everywhere. And it's already all over England. It's all over the Middle East. Look at British schools. You'll see what I'm talking about. I talk to people back home all the time, and that's exactly what they push down there too. And it's not even a pro-white area. That's the crazy part. White farmers in Africa can't even keep their own land because you got to give black people back their stuff. They didn't do anything to take that land. I must just give it back. Well, I didn't do anything. Yeah, but your ancestors. Don't look at a person's past, they say, when it's a black criminal. But look at everything white people did in the history. That is, look at that past, but not a black person's past. Look at the person now, who they are. Unless you're white, then make sure you rummage all through their history. Oh my goodness. Insane. Anyhow, I have to go rest now. I think it's really starting to nip at me here. So we will, I don't know when I'll be back on. This is a clear indicator that I won't be able to do nearly as long sessions as I used to because it's only been 50 minutes and it's already hurting like crazy. So y'all have a good rest of the day. We will catch up another time. I hope. If I get my privilege back on Facebook, I'll start blogging stuff. Or you can check my website. I can put that there. And we'll vibes then. Wisdom calls to you from the street. Find wisdom. Peace.